It's time for tech discussion on Wake Up Nigeria this morning, and we have Ifeanyi Nnamdi Okagbue, a seasoned engineering manager, software engineer, author, tech blogger, public speaker, and thought leader with over 15 years of experience building and leading high-performing engineering teams across some of Africa's top tech companies. It's such a pleasure to have you in the studio with us this morning.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
To be here, so I'm doing good.
Awesome. Now, Ifeanyi, building a career in software engineering is one that so many people dream of these days, mostly because of the remuneration, really. But the reality is there's a lot that goes into it, and it's a lot of work. Let's start from the basics. What do you need to know if you are interested in having a career in software engineering?
Okay, very good question. Firstly, before I go into that basics, I must say that software engineering is not MMM. You know, people are always looking at it like, you know, it's where you just go in and tap in and get a lot and make a lot of money. But it's mostly around solving problems, you know, making life easier for people, building solutions that build bridges, you know, across companies, countries, you know, and across industries. So when you get into software engineering to start, you must first lay proper foundation. And laying the foundation, it means that you must understand the basics. So you have people who studied computer science and other IT-related courses in school, but you also have people in software who didn't study any of these courses. So for you to be able to start, you need to understand the basics. How do systems work? Okay, what is the memory? What is the hard disk? How do they relate? How do they interact? You know, when I'm trying to build a solution that's going to work on a particular system, you know, I need to know how that system works, how it behaves. So you must understand the basics, you know, of how everything is going to interact. You know, I'm going to build an application here, it's going to talk with this application, or it's going to be used by this kind of an audience. You need to go down into the basics, understand why, how things work, what is systems, how they relate and interact. Build a proper foundation, and then you now decide what programming language you want to do. There are a lot of programming languages out there. There's Java, there's Python, there's C#, there's HTML. There are a lot of programming languages out there. So you decide which one you want to do based on, of course, where you see your path going into. And then you now pick on that. Then also, within the software engineering space, there's a lot of different fields within that. You have those who write the code, the software. Those who have the product managers, those who develop the product, who conceptualize it, take the ideas, plan out how the features of the solution is going to be like. You also have the guys who do quality assurance, who test it to be sure that we're able to ensure that whatever is going out is of good quality. You also have the guys who do the deployment, who have to take the software and put it on the server and ensure that everything is going fine, you know. So all of that, you can all fit in whatever space. You also have the UI UX designer, the people who's going to design the interface, you know, the look and feel, the user experience of who is going to use the application. So you can decide whatever space you want to go in, and then go in there, understand the basics. You still need to know how systems work and everything, and then start building your foundation. If I'm going into this space, if I'm picking this language, I need to know the basics of how everything will work. The right tools I need to use at certain stages when I'm solving the problems to ensure that whatever you're doing is efficient, works fine, and is able to fit in the overall picture. And then you start going in, and then of course, the next phase is to laying your hands on projects. You need to have a lot of sample projects. This will help you to be able to understand, okay, from the knowledge I've learned, how can I now practicalize it? So you need to learn, you need to put in your hands as many projects as possible, learn this, because you get experience by learning this, seeing how it's working, how it's interacting. And then you begin to try to develop a growth mindset. You want to be curious. You want to understand how this works. How can I improve on this? How can I make things better? How can I interact with people? How can I ensure that the solution that is going out there is going to actually solve the problem that's intended for? So that will help you to lay the right foundation to get into an industry, and then you begin to grow, you begin to build your competency, you begin to step into leadership, and then you begin to grow gradually.
Now let's talk about the languages you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
So there's JavaScript, HTML, Python. Can you tell us about each one? Okay. Because it's still part of the basics. Understanding them is what will also help you decide which one you want to focus on. So
so there are different programming languages. There are lots. You have the likes of Ruby, Golang, Java, C#. So,
what do they mean?
What do they mean? So the programming languages are codes that help you to interact with the system, to be able to manipulate the system, to be able to say, okay, I want to be able to build this, so that when people interact, when someone enters an input, I'm able to provide the right output. Okay, so their language is written by different people based on certain experiences they've had, or maybe they see a particular gap that a particular programming language is not able to provide. You know, some of them is built to handle things like memory optimization. Is built to handle processes, how you run things, two things running at the same time. The older ones we had, the likes of them in the past, you had the likes of Basic, COBOL, Fortran, Pascal. Those were very old programming languages. Some of those things you would have to be able to learn very, very well to be able to understand how to manage and optimize each stage of the process.
So
but
they've been phased out?
Ones, no, they're not phased out. Okay. You know, but the newer ones help you to automatically handle some of those things. You know,
right.
Even though you still need to know how these things work, you know, but newer ones help you to handle some of those things. It makes it more readable. You know, it's easier to, when you look at the code, you can even read and understand what the person is trying to do. So it's, you know, as the day comes, newer things come in, it's all to continue to improve, make it better. Even for the people that are writing the code, you want to provide them something that's easier for them to be able to write. You know, like, I mean, if you look at the days when you have the big CPUs, you had zeros and ones, and, you know, having to manipulate that to be able to read the system, because what the system understands really is zero and ones. Okay, so you're now building you're now using a language that is able to now take what you've written, compile it, and feed it into the system to be able to now give that output that people can be able to use that to do certain things, to be able to fill a form, to be able to post on Instagram, to be able to do certain things. Okay, so programming languages get advanced, and even the ones you have, they keep on improving on them, bringing out new features, better ways of interacting and using them. Yeah, so there are different types. You know, you could pick based on certain areas you want to go. For example, if you want to be focused on building applications to be hosted on the system, or you want to continue to focus on building applications for the web, you know, whatever it is, you look at that, and then you look at your niche area, and then you can pick certain programming language that fit better within that particular niche. Yeah.
Now, when you've gotten to this point, I'm pretty sure you've made up your mind, you know exactly what you're going for. However, what are those things you need to know and before you even say you want to be a software engineer?
Okay. So before you say you want to be a software engineer, the question really is, what drives you? Okay. What are you going in to do? What value add are you looking at? Do you want to be able to provide solutions for companies to automate their processes? Do you want to provide solutions for the everyday users? Do you want to provide solutions for SMEs?
So you need to know this before you even go into it.
You need to be able to decide.
Not that, you know, most courses, you go, you study, then you can now decide what you want to make out of it. For software engineering, you need to know exactly what it is
you need to understand
to do.
Your pathway, because you can have people that you start with this, you now jump to this, now realize, no, this is not what I really want to do. You move to this and everything. You don't want to become very confused along the way. So at the beginning, you need to ask yourself a lot of questions. It's like I say, at that point of laying the foundation, you need to really know, okay, where am I going? What do I want to do?
What am I trying to achieve with
Seek
this?
mentorship. What am I trying to achieve with this? So that you build your path, you go into this. You don't want to start here and then you realize that halfway, this is not really what I want to do. I go back and start again on another path. Like I told you, there are several fields within the area. You connect it to your passion. You know, like I write, like I'm also a tech blogger, I write these things. You need to sit down, look into your passion. Am I someone who likes to conceptualize ideas? Or am I someone who likes to break things out and piece them together? Am I someone who likes to ensure that things are of good quality? All of that will lead you into, okay, knowing, okay, am I going into quality assurance? Am I going to core development? Am I managing the process? Am I like a project manager kind of thing, someone? So do I want to manage the process, to be a product manager or a project manager? Or do I want to just build beautiful interfaces, you know? Everything stems from your passion, and then you connect that to the right field, and then you begin your career.
Ifeanyi, I feel like I'm about to get into a software engineering career right now, because the way you've really broken it down and the way you've made it seem like it's not as difficult as people think, because so many people stay away from it because it sounds difficult. But then you just need to know what you want align it with your passion, and make the
Exactly.
most of it. Thank you so much for your time, Ifeanyi.
Yeah, thank you
It's
so
been
much.
quite an interesting conversation.
Yeah, same here.
Thank you.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, at this point, we're going to have to take a break, okay? You're watching Wake Up Nigeria. Just stay with us. We'll be right back.